Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the co-founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. With me today is Erik Johansson, a teacher at LSAT Demon. Erik, we have an email here from Jordan.
Jordan says, hey guys, big fan of the Demon, your podcasts, and your tutors. After receiving my August score, a 170, I put together a top 20 list of schools I'd like to apply to. I am only interested in going to schools that give me scholarships of 50% or more, so my list contains only schools where I'm considerably above the 75th percentile LSAT. Interesting. Am I almost hurting myself by retaking in September and October? I'm pretty confident my score is likely to go up as I average 174-ish on PTs with multiple 178 plus tests. So my question is this: in an attempt to protect their school's yield rate, do schools ever start to ding you the higher you go in LSAT score? For context, my stats are 2.81 GPA, 170, but we think we can get higher than that. URM, 5 years of work experience at a biotech company. Jordan says, thanks for everything.
Okay, so you might hurt yourself at some schools, but you just shouldn't worry about those schools because you're going to help yourself at more schools than you're going to hurt yourself at. If it's even a thing that schools are going to, they wouldn't yield protect a 170. By the way, yield protection is where a school says, yeah, I really want to admit you and I really want to give you a scholarship actually because you're better than the average student that we have at our school, but you're so much better than the average at our school that we think you're going to deny us after we admit you. So we're going to waitlist you to make sure that you're serious about coming here. I think that does happen, but every school has a yield that's way lower than their admission rate. I mean, maybe Yale, Harvard, Stanford might violate that, but almost every other school is going to admit, let's say 50% of the people who apply, and then their yield is only going to be like 25% of those. That's really common. So I don't think the type of schools that you're looking at with a 2.81 and a 170 or a 175 or a 178 or whatever you might be capable of. What's the poster child of a school that you think is going to give you a scholarship with a 170, but actually deny you or waitlist you with a 175? I just doubt it. I really doubt that that's
thing. So I won't name names, but there was a school that I applied to 2 years ago with a 175 and a 3.8. So we're talking about a higher GPA, but I was clearly above their LSAT median. And they didn't waitlist me, but I got no response. I believe that I was essentially just kind of yield protected.
They just ghosted you. They were like,
they basically ghosted
he's not
me.
coming here.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the spring, I followed up with an email at long last saying, hey, I'm considering other offers. I have a real genuine interest in your school. Here's why. And within, I think, 3 days, I had a more than half tuition scholarship offer in hand from them. So waitlist, so yield protecting, I think, and there were a couple other schools that did waitlist me, including your alma mater. Yield protection, I believe, is a thing, but I think if you can deal with it, if you are really interested in that school, you can follow up with them and can turn that yield protect waitlist into an actual offer. If you can prove to them, hey, no, this is legit, like, you make me an offer, I might go to your school.
Yeah. I mean, they have to sell those seats. They have to fill those seats. And they give scholarships because they want to increase their numbers. The issue, though, Jordan is a really different applicant from you, Erik, because you had a 3.8. Jordan has a 2.8. So Jordan is going to be below the median at every law school on GPA.
On GPA, yeah.
And I don't think one thing stuck out to me in Jordan's earlier email. He said he's only applying to schools where he's considerably above the 75th percentile LSAT. And that I don't think is as important as you think it is. Schools are really invested in their medians because that's what gets reported on the 509 reports. And that's what currently is used by US News when they rank law schools. I don't think schools give one shit about their 75th percentile. In fact, it's really common to see a 170 median and then a 171 75th percentile because they're not like trying to go way over that. I don't think schools really try to bump their 75th percentile. I think they try to manipulate their medians. So, Jordan, I fear that you might be planning not to apply to some schools where you're above the median on LSAT. And if you're a point or two above their median, yeah, you are going to drag down their GPA, but you're also going to raise their median. And maybe they find other stuff in your application that they're really excited about. And I think you might be selling yourself a bit short by not applying to those schools.
I
There,
agree. Yeah.
there are also other schools where a 170 is at their median, and you need to take the test again so that you can be above their median if you're interested in that school. So I don't see how taking it again possibly hurts you. If you do get waitlisted because of a yield protect, you can follow up with them. If a school seems like they're ghosting you, I think Eric's example shows that you can always just follow up and say, "Hey, I haven't heard from you. I am interested in your school." They're so poorly organized. Eric, it's possible that you had just fallen through the cracks at that school.
Yeah, maybe.
Like they meant to get back to you and forgot to hit send on the email. Shit like that happens. And so if I were you, Jordan, I would just take the test again, get the best LSAT you can possibly get. Stop worrying about 75th percentiles, pay more attention to the medians, and then just apply broadly because you don't really know what's going to happen. Another thing that Jordan might want to think about is applying to schools where you're not likely to get any scholarship at all, but it's such a good school that it would be scary to a competitor school. For example, if you're thinking of applying to Boston College, Boston University, are you planning to apply to Harvard? I
Is there
mean,
another school in
2.8.
Boston that we can talk about?
Yeah, 2.8 is not a Harvard kind of GPA, but they are still interested in their diversity numbers. You describe
Mhm.
yourself as a URM. There's other ways that you can reflect that in your application. And if you apply as a high LSAT, low GPA URM splitter, we don't know what's going to happen at a school like Harvard.
Yeah.
And are they likely to give you a merit-based scholarship? Absolutely not. But they do need base scholarships, which maybe would work for you. And they certainly are a relevant, like credible competing offer where pretty much any school in the country you could say, "Hey, I have this I'm admitted to Harvard. So can we talk about the tuition at your school?
Mhm.
I'm not negotiating. I just want to talk to you about my concerns." And, you then make it clear to them that you're just not going to pay the price that they're asking because and there's other schools besides Harvard, Jordan, that I think you should consider, right? NYU, Columbia. There's lots of these schools that are really unlikely with your numbers to give you a scholarship, but they're such prestigious schools that you might want to just try just to see.
Yeah, I totally agree. Jordan, apply to some reach schools because you're probably selling yourself short.
Yeah. And everybody should just stop worrying about yield protection. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. It's not predictable. You can't like strategize. I mean, sacrificing your LSAT because you're worried about yield protection, that is definitely cutting off your nose to spite your face. I mean,
It's
that's
like
just.
it's like the coworker I had many years ago who talked about they didn't want to raise because it was going to bring them into a higher tax bracket.
Yeah. Yeah. That you hear that. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't want to get hotter because then people might deny me. Like I'm already too hot to get dates from the type of people that I want to date. And if I get
Yeah.
any hotter, then they'll never accept me
Well,
because like, wait, what?
this was my problem
What are you
all
talking?
the way
Yeah.
through college.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Last words for Jordan?
Apply to some top schools and retake the LSAT. You can do better.
Yeah, and just apply broadly, and it
Yeah.
solves all your problems. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.